During World War II in August and September of 1941, Pahlavi, Iran was jointly invaded and occupied by the Soviet Red Army in the north and the British from the south to the center. Iran was used by the Americans and British during the war as a transportation route to provide vital supplies to the Soviet Union's war efforts. However, the Allies agreed to leave Iran 6 months after the war ended. At the Tehran Conference in 1943, the Big Three, being the United States, Soviet Union, and Great Britain, gave additional assurances concerning Iran's future sovereignty and territorial integrity, as well as a promise to assist it in its post-war reconstruction and development. Following VJ Day in September of 1945, the United States, and then followed by Great Britain, withdrew their forces within the treaty-stipulated period. However, the Soviets did not. The Soviets not only violated the March 2, 1946 withdrawal deadline, but would also expand their military presence southward. By mid-December of 1945, with the use of troops and secret police, Soviets set up two pro-Soviet puppet, quote-unquote, People's Democratic Republics, which is code word for Kamiku, within Iranian territory. These were the Azerbaijan People's Government, headed by Saeed Jafar Peshirvari, and the Kurdish Republic of Mahabad under President Pesheva Kazi Mohammed. In Azerbaijan, the pro-Soviet ADP expanded throughout Iranian Azerbaijan and initiated a local coup d'etat with help from the Soviet army, who prevented the Iranian army from intervening. During the first week of September in 1945, the Azerbaijani Democratic Party declared itself to be in control and authorized the formation of the Peasants' Militia, which by mid-November 1945 captured all remaining government posts in the province. However, Azerbaijan would quickly fall apart. The Republic of Mahabad also declared independence in December of 1945, and despite Soviet opposition, Mullah Mustafa Barzani came to play an important role in the newly created military force of the Mahabad Republic, being the Peshmerga. With the support of Barzani and around 60 tribal Kurdish leaders, the KDPI party platform had been established, and Qazai Mohammed was elected as the first president on January 22, 1946. On April 29, 1946, only 5 days after the Mahabad Republic signed a military cooperation accord with neighboring Azerbaijan, the 1st Kurdish Regiment, located in the southeast corner of the republic, faced 600 Iranian soldiers who were reinforced with artillery and cavalry. In this engagement, the Peshmerga, under Barzani's leadership, were successful in engaging Iranian forces, ambushing the first Iranian units to reach Karara. The Mahabad Peshmerga also engaged Iranian recon teams in the region throughout early May. Kurdish offensives were limited to minor skirmishes due to the removal of Soviet influence in the region that month, and possibly due to a Soviet-Iranian oil agreement, which later on would fall apart. Anyway, a ceasefire agreement would be signed on May 3, 1946, between Kurdish forces and Iranian General Ali Razmara that discouraged major attacks, promoted withdrawals, and would allow each side to further equip their forces in the region. On June 15, 1946, the period of preparation ended as fighting positions of the 2nd Kurdish Regiment at Mamasha were attacked by 2 Iranian battalions supported by artillery, tanks, and aircraft. The resulting Kurdish defeat enabled the Iranians to seize the highlands, create military watchtowers, and maintain a presence in the area. The lack of tribal unity also promoted deterioration of the Mahabad Republic following the Battle of Mamasha. As tribal support for Qazi Mohammed's government waned, the Barzani Peshmerga were left as Mahabad's lone fighting force. As a result, the Mahabad position became hopeless by late 1946, as promised Soviet aid would fail to arrive. The Mahabad Republic would also face its most difficult challenge, as Iranian forces planned to reclaim the region following the seizure of Iranian Azerbaijan in December of 1946. After the Peshmerga fled on December 15th, the Iranian military entered Mahabad, officially ending the 1-year life of the Kurdish Republic. The U.S. exerted an intense amount of pressure on the Soviet Union in stages to force the withdrawal of the Red Army from Iran to reduce Soviet influence. Following an official U.S. protest on January 30th, 1946, the United Nations Security Council passed Resolution 2, and on March 24th, Stalin ordered the withdrawal of all Soviet troops from Iran by April 30th, and Soviet troops would all leave on May 6th. The Soviets would also attempt to force the Iranians to uphold an oil deal signed under duress in 1947 to give the Soviets 51% of Iran's oil. However, the Iranians, who were backed by the United States, rejected this agreement. Soviet influence and expansion also occurred elsewhere in Southwest Asia in the immediate end of World War II, also led to the adoption of the Truman Doctrine and containment as an official U.S. foreign policy in 1947, which many historians will refer to as the official start of the Cold War. Within Iran, despite the attempts to disarm Mahabad forces, the Peshmerga succeeded in smuggling out much of their weaponry. In various battles throughout mid-March 1947, the Peshmerga defended themselves against numerous offensives as Iranian forces continued their attacks. The Peshmerga would even achieve several victories, among which was the Battle of Nalos, where the Peshmerga forces effectively used their artillery to kill many Iranian soldiers, including Colonel Kalashi, the Iranian regiment commander, and took many POWs. The ambush of an Iranian military column also resulted in the deaths of 50 Iranian soldiers and the capture of Iranian Lieutenant Jahabani, son of General Jahabani. However, with his forces withering under the continuous attack, Mustafa Barzani realized the need to flee Iran and crossed into the border of Iraqi Kurdistan. Lieutenant Jahabani would also go on to be one of the founding fathers of the Iranian Air Force for growing and modernizing the Imperial Iranian Air Force. On June 9, 1947, the Peshmerga attacked the flank of an army column, and during the two-pronged attack led by both Mustafa Barzani and Asad Khoshavi, the Peshmerga killed hundreds of Iranian soldiers, destroyed several tanks, knocked out an artillery battery, and even downed an Iranian aircraft. After evading and engaging the Iranian army throughout their trip, Barzanis, along with over 500 Peshmerga, crossed the Araxes River into the Soviet Union on June 18, 1947. And that is the 1946 Iran crisis, one of the first standoffs of the Cold War. Did you know about it before this video? What other early Cold War aspects would you like for me to cover? Write in the comments, and thank you for watching.